Okay, so your birthday next week.
Yes.
What do you want?
A unicorn.
And what kind of unicorn do you want?
A zombie.
Well, it turns out that is right up my alley, and it sounds very on brand for you. All right.
Yes.
Let's get involved. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of What Have I Done?
What have I done?
When making the double helix with a drill, it's worth noting to use a single piece of wire folded in half, not in two pieces. This armature will act as the front legs to the pair you saw me amputate at the beginning of the video, and I use a single length for both legs and drive it through the soft clay body to make a pretty convincing seagull. From here I can bend the front legs into an initial standy-uppy pose, only for her to fall over immediately, and after some internet sleuthing I shall name this unicorn Dash, after a rainbow dash. If you've seen the thumbnail and you're up to date on your My Little Pony characters, then you'll know why. I can from here proceed to bulk up the jowls and elongate the head before twisting the head slightly to give it a more naturally horsey pose. My keen-eyed viewers may have noticed that I've used regular Sculpting for the main body, and now I'm using medium for the legs. This is for one of two reasons. Either A, thought this was the best way to add detail to the legs while making it easy to carve out the body, or B, I ran out of regular. I guess we'll never know. Initially I'm simply bulking out the form because with clay, it's just as much about what you take away as much as it is about what you add. And if you make a mistake, it's pretty easy to fix. Usually. To make our horsey's cheeks, I'll form a single ball divided down the center. From here I can simply click into position and smoosh onto the side of the face. Is Dash giving anyone else horse in a suit vibes right now? Next up, I'll mark out the facial features by adding a couple of temporary ears and poking in where the eyes and the nostrils will be located. I can then use Old Faithful to score on a mouth before bulking up the neck muscles. I'll smooth in the neck musculature with a metal tool, then add a couple of front leg ankles? Then scrape away the excess after doing some research and realizing horses' ankles are roughly the same size as ants.
What is this?
Ankles.
For ants!
Now from here, I can add a hoof and use the side of my tool to shape the shin before deciding the leg is a bit too stumpy, so I'll chop it off, add some clay, and then reattach it. I can then do the same with the back leg and the remaining legs on the right side before marking in some musculature definition on that glorious dump truck. I'll add a proxy mane and tail to check the overall look, then move back to the focal leg and refine the shape further. And then it is time to harvest some bones. I mean, make some bones. Definitely make some bones. Restraining order won't let me within 100 yards of a stable after last time. Did I say that out loud? I'll roll out a thin sheet of clay, chop out roughly even pieces, and give them a slight bend. These will act as the ribs, as you need exposed ribs if you're to make a zombie on the internet. I didn't write the rules. Ribs? Check. Skull? Check. Spine? Check. Femur? Check. YouTube zombie rules. Didn't write them. With my small plate of bones complete, I can give them a quick bake and make a wriggling of maggots. Or croissants. Not entirely sure yet. Oh, and hey, Spooktober is officially upon us, so please leave any and all spooky suggestions in the comments below, and I will make the most upvoted comment and give the winner a shout out. Onto the ears, which are small, thin sheets of clay wrapped around the top of a paintbrush, pinched and then just pushed into position. And now, onto by far my favourite part of the project. Defleshing. I loosely knew what I wanted, and at the end I marked out the areas that I needed to excavate, and then just started scooping out unicorn bits like Michael Myers at a babysitter convention. I start with the thorax, then I move on to the round stake in the leg. I'll then carefully carve away at the face, as the skull is probably the most important aspect of the entire sculpt. I can then make some animal attack gashes in the rump on the not so damaged side, and add various open wounds and gashes wherever feels right. For the skull, I'll scoop out the eye socket and refine the shape around a ball stylus. I'll carve out the nose and scrape in some detail into the maxilla. Horse skulls, they're just weird. It's like they're mocking you, even after death. This is actually the mouth I'm adding, and now I'll separate the upper jaw from the lower jaw. Finally, I'll use my Tenia silicone shaper to introduce some wonderfully deceased teeth. For the musculature, you can just Google any animal skinless and wait for your door to be kicked in by your local authorities. I'll add a series of muscle fibers, as later I'll rely on these to pick up a wash and a dry brush for maximum gnarliness. I'll check the sizing of the ribs, then with a blade I can randomly nick away at the two pristine edges and place them back in the chest cavity. With the ribs in place, I can use the power of editing to insert an appropriately zombie-esque eyeball. And of course, no zombie is complete without tendrils strewn across their open wounds. For some extra nastiness, I'll expose the vertebrae in the spine and add some of the previously baked maggots inside the open wounds. With a series of ball styluses of varying sizes, I'll stipple the surface of the exposed muscles to give it an imperfect, decaying appearance. I could then add the fibula to the lower leg and scratch with the femur a wee bit before locating in the upper leg. Then we're on to the hair. Nothing too complicated with the hair. I simply rolled out the shape you see here and overlapped them accordingly. I also removed her right ear because... zombie. The tail follows much the same approach with the addition of an armature. I didn't really think this one through, and I couldn't get it to glue in place.
Why?
And so I turned to my old friends Milliput and Hope. I insert the epoxy into the previously ascertained location, then set up a very sophisticated propping technique. While that was drying, I added more tendrils to the leg bones and the ribs, then came back to check on my genius solution. With this L, I moved on to my next favorite solution to all my problems in life. More is more. I simply overwhelmed gravity with clay, and it worked a treat. I can then give the soft clay a wipe down with isopropyl alcohol. I usually use a soft brush for this, but today I'm using a nylon brush, as the stiffer brush will leave a really nice horsehair texture. I'll prime the horny horse white before adding the midtones, and I'll start with the bones in a bone white. I can then add some blood red to the bloody red bits, and the horn and the hooves will receive a squid pink, and then I can move on to the tail. Hindsight being what it is, I would have modeled the tail a bit differently. This paint job literally gave me a backache being hunched over for so long. I maybe would have used colored clay or just done it as a single piece. With that said, I'll start with the green, and then I can add all the yellow tresses, then blue, and finally the pinks and magentas. For the goopy bloody wash, I mixed blood red, warlord purple, flow improver, water, and just a drop of black, all Vallejo game color. I'll take this and apply to all the exposed flesh, and as I paint, I'll also have a sponge at hand to wipe away any of the excess from the raised edges. I can then do the same to the exposed bones with a mixture of leather brown and earth. I'll apply the wash in sections, making sure to stop any runoff with my dollar store makeup sponge. And after giving Izzy's little brother Mikey a preview, he recommended that I make Dash's horn more traditional ice cream cone shape as opposed to the crystal. And who am I to say no to a 9-year-old? So ice cream cone it is. The reds can get a blood red dry brush highlight, and the bones will receive a bone white dry brush. With the dry brushing complete, I can move on to making this dry flesh look like wet flesh, and hence a little more disgusting. And with the paint job finished, I can move on to the base, which we're going to keep simple as I don't have high hopes for the lifespan of this sculpture. I'll give the base a Mod Podge and black base coat, add a too thick layer of PVA glue, which I'll have to wipe away some, and I can from here add a motley of flocking. I'll begin with a light gravel, and then a finer green grass, followed by a lighter in colour 2mm grass, and finally a smattering of dandelion flocking. I'll spray the flocking with wood and scenic cement and leave it to dry overnight, locking it all in place. I'll then drill in some mounting holes to the MDF board, and I can get my varnish back out and give a sheen to the horn and the mane and the tail. Last minute decided to give him a muzzle of soft grey gradient like Shadowfax. And finally, I can add some UV resin to the eyes for a nice shine. And it's on to the gifting. Happy birthday, Izzy. Give it a go. Tell me what you think.
I'm stuck on a... What? That's awesome. Are they green maggots?
Yeah, they're green maggots.
No, they're poisonous maggots then.
Yeah, they are.
They're so cute. Oh my god. Oh, they're so cute. I love these. Oh my gosh.
Thanks to all those that have made it this far, and thank you for supporting the channel. Please check out one of the videos on the screen and like the video if you want to see more. The more you like the videos, the more YouTube pushes it into the algorithm. Subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and until next time, go make a mess.